Hey, what's up, people of the internet? It's your boy Josh Wulf, and today I'm going to be looking at Netflix Conductor. I got a call coming up with one organization, and they're evaluating Zeebe and Netflix Conductor. So they want to know, what's up with Netflix Conductor, what's up with Zeebe. Now, the last time I compared the two was when I first encountered Zeebe. I was working at CreditSense, and we were evaluating different options. We evaluated Zeebe, we evaluated Conductor, but that was like well over a year ago, maybe a year and a half to 2 years ago that I did that work. So things have moved on since then. So let's check it out and see what's happening in the world of Conductor today. Okay, so let me grab a browser tab over here, expand it up so we can see the whole thing. Okay, I've got a million things open at the moment, as I usually do. Netflix Conductor. Now, the last time I ran Netflix Conductor, I just installed it in Docker. It needed its own database. It uses its own proprietary. I think it's proprietary. When I say proprietary, I mean its own one, not like it's DynamoDB or something. Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger, both for myself and for you. Hey, we built Conductor to help us orchestrate microservices-based process flows at Netflix. Yep, as you implement microservices, the probability of you implementing a workflow engine approaches 1. That's what we learned from Netflix Conductor, from Lyft Flight and Uber Cadence. Okay. Following features: distributed server ecosystem, workflow state information stored efficiently, creation process, each individual task implemented by same or different, JSON-based DSL. Okay, last time I looked at it, I think it was YAML. Maybe I got that wrong. Provide visibility and traceability, simple interface to connect workers, interesting, full operational control over workflows, ability to pause, resume, restart, retry, and terminate, reuse of existing microservices, user interface to visualize, replay, and search the process flows, ability to scale to millions of concurrently running process flows, queuing system abstracted from the clients, HTTP or gRPC, event handlers to control workflows via external actions, client implementations in Java, Python, and other languages, hopefully Node.js. Configurable properties with sensible defaults to fine-tune workflow and task executions like rate limiting, concurrent execution limits, etc. Why not peer-to-peer choreography? Harder to scale, complexities. Pub-sub model worked for the simplest of flows, but quickly highlighted some of the issues associated with the approach. Process flows are embedded within the code of multiple applications. Yep, tight coupling, assumptions around input-output, SLAs. No systematic way to answer how much have we done with process X. Yeah, okay. Yep, those are the problems. API service installed Dynomite. It's there. I kept thinking DynoDB, but it's called Dynomite. Run the in-memory server. Local Conductor instance based on an in-memory database. Can run it with an in-memory database. Okay, I don't need Dynomite. And then a UI server. We'll start them all with that. Okay. Dun dun dun. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so workspace. Pull this tab out. Is that possible? Yes. Okay. Start with a clean slate. Just going to put it in the Communda folder. And just run that git clone command. Cloning into Conductor. Okay, got to build it from source with Gradle. Do I have Gradle installed on this machine? Nope, I don't think I do. Oh. Gradle W server. Okay, it's going to download Gradle for me. That's pretty cool. And then I think we'll split this plane horizontally. Ding! Okay, so there's a slight bug in the instructions. Nope. That's why. What's my username on this machine? Insufficient. Yep. Okay, is it in UI? It is. Okay. So run Gulp Watch here for the UI. Okay, so probably you need to run npm install, right? Stop. Let's use pnpm install. Gradle's downloading. I'm installing the required packages in here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Nice, nice error behavior. It's missing from here. Here we go. Ta-da! Let's make it. There we go. Okay. Actually, if we do it like this, then we can take this out. Actually, we could actually put that into
The frontier was everywhere. We were bounded only by the earth and the ocean and the sky.
Is in the subdirectory server. So actually you could do like this, Conductor /UI, right? That. And then in that case, we would say it's in the directory. What are you coding for? What a great question. How do I reply to this? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Maybe I reply on restream.io or... Let me see if I can figure out how to reply. Oh, well, I can just say it, right? Because you're listening. I'm coding for Netflix Conductor. I'm just kind of testing it out. It's a Netflix Conductor is like a workflow orchestration engine. And I'm fixing their documentation while I do it because I noticed a couple of things that could be improved. So they had an edit. Yeah, they had an edit. I figured that out. They had an edit button on their documentation. So I'm doing my good citizen of the internet thing and fixing things up as I go. Also gets me good GitHub karma. Okay, so just create a pull request. Create pull request. And I'm going to go back to the documentation. So Netflix Conductor, introduction, comparing, editing, architecture. Well, what I'm doing here is I've actually got a call with a so I work on Zeebe, which is a distributed microservices workflow engine, and I have a call with a company on this is Zeebe here. I'll show you. So I work on the JavaScript client for Zeebe, and I'm a developer advocate for Camunda who make it, and I have a call with a company, and they want to ask me about how Zeebe compares with Netflix Conductor. And the last time that I looked at Netflix Conductor was before I worked for Camunda on Zeebe, and I was working at a company where we were comparing different solutions, and we compared Conductor and Zeebe, and we went with Zeebe, and the rest is history. But that was like 1.5 to 2 years ago. So I need to figure out how it's changed since then. So in the same space, you got like Uber Cadence. Cadence workflow. And you got this other one from Lyft. So basically when these companies go to, it's called Lyft Flight, when they start building these complex kind of microservices architectures, they end up having to build these engines to be able to orchestrate them. So Lyft, who are like Uber, they got Flight. Uber, who are Uber, have Cadence. Netflix built Conductor. And then Camunda they have Camunda the engine, and then they built this new one, Zeebe. So yeah, I'm basically just installing and running Conductor, and then, you know, figure out what's happening with it, where it's up to, what it's kind of pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, which use cases it's best suited for. And then in my conversation with that organization on Friday, you know, when I find out about what they want to do, what their architectural landscape looks like, the skills they have, the use case they want to apply it to, I can actually have like an informed conversation with them about which of the approaches is going to be best. Cool. Yeah, you can easily get started with easiest way to get started with coding. If you're into playing Minecraft, I have a Minecraft platform for learning how to code in JavaScript. It's kind of only interesting though if you already play Minecraft. It's called magiccraft.io. You can code JavaScript in Minecraft from your browser. So you write the code in your web browser, and then you can run it directly in Minecraft. I made it for teaching kids to code. They were already playing Minecraft, so I was like, well, how can I make it something that they're already interested in and add coding to that? So I created this. So that's the code you write, and then, you know, you can create a fireball in Minecraft to kill zombies, which for the kids is a huge driver because it makes them cool in front of their friends, which helps them to keep moving forward. Where would I go if I wanted to learn how to code these days? actually a good question. It's been so long that I haven't looked at like where's the entry point for generally. Slight digression. Learn to code. Please don't learn to code. That's the number one result. The best ways to teach yourself to code. 80 ways to learn to code for free. I think there's this place called Coding Katas. Coding Kata. I saw this guy at a Code Kata. Oh, you do play Minecraft? Well, in that case, yeah, Magicraft for sure. Yeah, Magicraft would be great in that case if you play Minecraft. So it's at magicraft.io. It's magikcraft.io. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see how it's spelt. IO. Actually, I should put a bigger Magicraft on here. But that's it there. magikcraft.io. Okay, Conductor. Back to Conductor. Oh yeah, so I was installing the components. Let's see if they finished. This build failed here. This one worked. Let's have a look at this. Okay, interesting. Let's have a look. You are most welcome. Failed to notify project evaluation listener. Configuring the project, the Cassandra persistence. Okay, could not locate a compatible JDK for target compatibility 1.8. Change the source target compatibility. Set a JDK 18 environment variable with the location. Install it to one of the default search locations. Okay, so this problem is multiple Java virtual machines on the same machine. I am by no means an expert in this, but I think I created at one point. No, I did not. Thanks, Guy. Great to have you watching. Enjoy your day. Java. That's a good question though that you've given me to look at, which is how, if I were to start learning to code now in 2020 and I wasn't a kid playing Minecraft, how would I do it? I'll look into that a bit more. So if I run on here Java -v, that tells me no. Okay. Java minus version. Yeah, okay. So I'm running JDK 11. I think in my .zsh file, at one point it might not have been on this machine, it might have been a different machine where I created aliases for, look, go path, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, there we go, J8, export Java home. There we go. Okay, so I created a command to switch JDKs. So if I run J8, bam, I'm now using Java 8. So if I rerun that command, it should find the right Java and start. Actually, I got a program that allows me to, here we go, Chatterino, to watch the chat that's happening on name of place, Twitch. Keep that open over here. Okay, configuring dependencies, etc, etc. Now on this one here, we should be able to run gulp watch now. Primordials is not defined. I have seen this error before and googled it several times. This is due to the node version again. So if I do node -v, I'm using node 12. I'm using NVM. So if I go NVM list, node version manager. Let's try it with 9.9. So if I say use 9.9.0, See if it works with that. Okay. Got watch. Okay. So I now have to install Gulp, because when you switch node versions, any of your globally installed packages don't work. This was one thing I did notice about Conductor, was that because it's an internal project at Netflix, there's not really any like drive for them to keep it up to date. Like I'm constantly working on the Zeebe node client because I want people to use it, because it's like externally facing. Like if I have a look at the Zeebe node package on npm, if you have a look at this package on here, so I first created it in February of last year, so it's about 12 months old now. And if you have a look at the usage, like there was like no one using it back when I created it, basically me. There was a bit of a spike in July of last year. I remember when that happened. But now there's like, you know, over 6,000 downloads per week. So a lot of people are using it. So I'm constantly updating it, keeping it up to date. Last published a month ago. There's a bunch of, it's funny. Why it says 0 pull requests. Oh, maybe they got merged. It did. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I opened 2 pull requests on it last night. I'm in Australia. But I'm originally from New Zealand, and then I spent 3 years living in South America where I learned to speak Spanish, and that changed my accent. And then when I came to Australia in 2004, I got a job working at Red Hat doing phone support for the west coast of the US, and people could not understand me if I said, sir, can you I'd say, sir, yeah, can I get you to press J, K and Z on the keyboard? And then they'd be like, what you want me to press what? And so I said, okay, sir, can you please press J, K and Z on the keyboard? And they'd be like, oh, why didn't you just say so? So it's, and my wife is from the United States as well. She's from Washington, so obviously I talk a lot with her. So that's really mashed up my accent. So these got approved and merged, which was cool. 5 hours ago. So it's rapidly iterating, and if you watch the Zeebe GitHub itself, actually that's another good point, is like whenever you're evaluating an open source project, you want to have a look at the, let's have a look at the, actually this was part of my evaluation, was I opened bugs against Netflix and against Netflix Conductor and against Zeebe, and my Netflix Conductor patches would sit there for like weeks without being touched. Whereas when I opened bugs against Zeebe, the engineers were engaged, they would fix things. I remember we had one over the Australia Day weekend, which was in January 2018. And they merged it over the weekend. I came back into work on Monday, it was fixed. So I was like, well, that's awesome. So there are 156 open issues, 18 issues that need help. Updated 12 minutes ago. Okay, so they're pushing to it, which is good. And then at the same time, you know, like if you were to open an issue in the Zeebe GitHub and ask for some feature that's like way massively out of scope, it's not going to get addressed quickly. 315 issues in the Zeebe GitHub. Netflix Conductor has 156. Some parts of it are quite stable, and some parts of it got iterated on like last week, and this one was 6 hours ago. Let's have a look at the commit log. Okay, so this is now running, which is good. Okay, so this one here has failed, and I'd say it's because I did npm-i previously. I'm gonna have to do npm-i pnpm to get my pnpm back. Let me make this bigger for you. Yeah, definitely. You know, guy just said close but no cigar, darn well the UK founded, so I'll take it as a win. 100% you can take that. I was in South America every day. 2 years, I could tell if someone was from Venezuela, Chile, Peru, Argentina, Colombia, or should I say Colombia, from their accent. And when I watched videos like online or on a DVD or VCDs they were back then, I could not tell the difference if someone was from England, South Africa, New Zealand, or Australia. I'd be like, where are they from? And then, yeah, I just noticed how closely grouped those accents are. Especially if that's not where you're from. I mean, it's like when I go to the United States, there's like so many different accents over there, and people from the States can tell where someone else is from their accent. I've got a little bit of an ear for that. I can tell someone from Boston, from New York, from LA, but those are really the only ones I can distinguish. Or if they're from the... I'm reinstalling PNPM here to get PNPM. So PNPM is a package manager that replaces NPM, packages on your file system. It keeps one copy, which it reuses for different projects on your file system that use that package. So it's because I installed, when I ran PNPMI previously, they're up here, it installed these and it also built any of the binary dependencies. And then I changed my node version, tried to run it again, to address this problem. But now the problem I have is my installation created binaries for the other version of Node, so I need to reinstall again and do a rebuild. So you can either, there's two ways to do that. I can delete the node modules directory and install again, or I can do a PNPM rebuild, I think it's called. It's either rebuild or I-rebuild. I can never remember that one. Dulcet tones of Shingo Nakamura. It's Japanese progressive house music from Silk Music, the label. On this video when it goes on YouTube, but it's an arrangement I have with them where they can collect any of the monetization from this channel, which is zero. More about the internet fame. But yeah, I wrote to Shingo Nakamura and said, I love your music, I love programming to your music, and I would love to be able to play it on my live stream. Can we make it happen? And someone from the record company got back to me about it and said, yep, but we'll do a copyright claim and we'll just collect any of the money. Okay, it doesn't look like it's a fatal error because it hasn't bailed out of the whole process. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. This is a bug in Node pre-jit. Okay, well that's interesting. Try to update it and file an issue if it does not help. Okay. Let's have a look in the issues and see if anyone has mentioned this primordials thing. Let's go back and grab the primordials issue. Bug. Error message. This one. Yeah, I know what that one is just because I've faced it previously. One closed. Yeah. 7th of August 2019. Version of Node. Say, I don't know, 9.9.0. Do npm rebuild. Okay, so according to my calculations, if I now do npm rebuild, well, that's weird because I just installed it. Did I do npm I instead of -g? I did. Okay, well that was pretty dumb. Oh. So I installed it in the local. Well, in that case I could do this. No, I should do it properly. npm I -g p npm. That's annoying. Yay. Okay, so now if I do npm rebuild, should rebuild the binary dependencies. Oh, you're from the south. I just saw your message. Getting that way with Japanese, different accents. Okay. Japan's seems like quite a small geographical area for people to have different accents, but I guess like there's such a high concentration of people in like in Tokyo, for example, that they definitely could develop different accents. And even in London, they have different regional accents for different suburbs. Or what do they call them there? Boroughs. Different boroughs in London. That's pretty far out. Different Japanese accents. I never even thought of it. Okay, gulp watch. Let's run that. Okay, it works. Yep, do npm rebuild. Okay, so again, we should add another edit to this docs page. Quite good how easy it is to edit this page. Oh, okay, no, that's not so good. What I really need to do is edit my pull request. Just add it into that. There we go. I think I can do it this way. If I go in here, and then I go to my patch. Oh yeah, slang usage rather than actual accent. Yeah, in South America, people are like, I'm learning English, and they're like, they have two different types of English they can learn: English Britannico or English Americano, American or British English. And I was like, dude, there's not that much of a difference between them. It's like rubbish versus garbage, or what are the other big differences? I mean, the various different meanings of the word fanny between England and America. But in South America, they have the same thing. They have like, they call it jerga, different slang between different countries. So I'm looking at my fork. I'm on this branch. So yeah, if I edit that file on this branch, that will do it. So this one takes me to Conductor, edit dev, docs architecture. So it's in docs. It's in docs. Architecture. And there are my changes there. Okay. Okay, so the error message. I think it's pre-12. And then I just say, see this issue for more details. And then to make this a link, let's do this. No, not that. Okay, so here you need Node installed and Gulp installed with npm I -g Gulp. Run it, you need Node installed, Node.js. And we should go all the way and type in, give them the link to Node.js, nodejs.org. And Node.js automatically switched me to the English language version, but I'll take that out because they detected it from my browser, so I'll let them detect it for the reader. Okay, that's good. Keep this open so I can add more changes as I find them. Now, here's my UI server. Pretty cool. All conductor executions. There are none. How's my execution going? Oh, spelling differences between America and England, for sure. Yeah, lots of the English spellings are all kind of derived from French, but they're not pronounced that way. So when my son was learning to spell at school, I was like, dude, that totally needs to be changed. Like, that actually is the correct way to spell that word. The spelling is actually wrong. Like, learning to spell English words is like almost closer to like learning to write Chinese, you know, like the kanji characters, where you have to actually just memorize them because there's no connection between the sound and the way they're actually written. And then English words are like that. You've got to learn the exact spelling through memorization rather than through learning some simple rules that you can apply. Wow, this thing is... Oh no, it's running. Okay, it's actually running. That's what's happening here. It's finished building, it's running. Okay, so... runtime model. Workers connect to the execution service, get stuff from the task queues. They poll the queue, and then they update the execution service. Okay? So you can trigger, define task executions. I don't know if it's laziness. It just seems like a refactoring to actually make it make sense. I mean, laziness could drive it, but in that case, call me lazy too. Although, because I did all of my schooling and education in New Zealand, like, I'm just naturally conditioned to write things using the British spellings. But the American ones make more sense to me. Okay, so I can post to this thing to create a workflow. Okay, let's try it out. Tasks, workflow definition. JSON-based DSL. Okay, let's have a look at the detailed description of the workflow definitions, see if we can create them. Okay, so you chain the tasks together sequentially, and they can refer to the output of the previous task by name. So here's name and code, and then this task deploy will take encode, output, and code location, and it will become an input parameter to this. So that's kind of similar to the way GitHub Actions workflows work. Same as the task, input and output variable mappings in Zeebe. Restartable too. Using the client. Client APIs, Java. No thanks. Python, no thanks. Okay, let's see if someone's written a JavaScript client. Do I want to become the Netflix conductor guy on JavaScript? Ain't nobody got time for that. Someone else has definitely got to have done it by now. JavaScript, npm. Be the easiest way to find it. Netflix conductor utilities. There we go. Simple lib for worker of conductor. 145 weekly downloads. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's build something with it. So we'll split this one vertically. Thinking about it, cd into workspace, put it in the Camunda folder, make a directory called conductor client. I'll just call it conductor test. And then open an instance of VS Code here. Do the kids in Australia use Common Core maths? If not, you should look it up sometime. It's new around here. It's a trip. So many excess steps. It makes simple problems take at least 3 times as long. I remember when Common Core maths was coming out, there were a lot of articles about it in, what's that thing called? Medium.com. People were talking about it. Common Core maths. I remember seeing like explanations of it, but like things like, I know how to add and subtract, and I know how to do division, I know what it is, multiplication, I know what a square root is, I know how to do exponentiation, I can do some simple algebra, but I mean theoretically I know how to do long division, but I've never used that and I never would. Yeah. Maths. I mean, that's what you have a calculator for, right? I guess if they have a bad experience of learning it, though, they would get discouraged. Oh, trigonometry. I know how to do trigonometry. That was fun to do. Okay, here's my new project. So I want to create a new terminal. Then I want to grab this, copy. Okay, so first thing I do is just init a new project, npm init -y, tsc, because I'm going to use TypeScript, init, and then just paste that command in. Only I'm going to use pnpm install. Common Core maths. Are you like a school teacher, or do you have kids, or what's your kind of interest in the maths education? Let's create like a index. No, call it main.ts. Okay. Two or more places, multiplication. Yeah. Can I do that? 23 times 45. Yeah, I know how to do 23 times 45. If it was anything bigger than that, I wouldn't even try that. I'd just use my phone. But I guess at least I know that I know how to do it, even if I, you know, wouldn't take the time to do it, like I'm not practiced at it. Okay, so this has got a await, and oh, actually, how come we can't do top level await? Because we're using an old version of TypeScript. It's installed the latest and greatest. TypeScript at let's find out what it is at now. Right, well that makes sense then. Okay, I got it. Yeah, okay, so you're actually not just like theoretically like, oh, this is a bad way to do it. You're actually seeing the effect that it's having on kids who are learning. Yeah, that's a bummer. It's already hard enough to get kids to be interested in education. .8.2. Well, you know, I'm actually very easily distracted, so let's have a look. Common Core multiplication. Okay, when they say divide the number, they mean like separate it. 20 and 3. Multiply each separate part. I think that's actually the way I learned how to do it. 23 times 45. Let me show you how I do it, and then we'll see if it's the Common Core method or something else. Scratch. .js. So here's how I do it. Console.log 23 times 45. I'm kidding, I wouldn't do that. Actually, that's how I would do it. 23 times 45. Okay, so I would do 5 20s are 100. 5 3s are 15. 4 3s are 12. 4 times 2 is 80, which would be 800, like that. 927. Ta-da! Let's see. Did I get it right? No, I got it wrong. It's 1035. Where did I go wrong? 5 3s are 15. 2 times 5 is 10. What? 15. 2 times 5 is 10. Yeah, so that's 100. 4 times 3 is 120. 4 times 2 is 800. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just forgot to put the tens onto this one. Okay. The way that I just did it, is that Common Core maths? Like you multiply the 5 times the 3, then the 2, and then multiply that by 10, then do 4 times 3 times 10, and 4 times 2 times 100? Like this, Common Core multiplier, and it takes let's say an A and a B, and they're going to be strings, but then we're going to split them. So we would do const takes two two-digit numbers, so say A1s equals A yep. And then const A10 equals A0, like, I mean, algorithmically, this is how I'm doing it. Const b1 equals b1, and const b10s is equal to b0. And then you do result equals b1 times, you multiply b1 times a1 plus b1 times a10 multiplied by 10. Not sure about the associations that will do that. Actually, no, that should have precedence, but... And then I got to chain the same thing for the other one, which is b10 times a1 times 10 plus b10 times a10 times 100. And then common core multiplier of 23 times 45. Assignment to constant variable. Okay, so I just straight up return it. X equals solve for X. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's the method that I used to do it. The way they were teaching prior was to take the second number to each multiply, then under it place a 0. You take the first number times each and multiply, add those two. Oh, I see. So you take out the powers of 10 and just use like a 0 to denote it. Yeah, you take out this part here by just sticking it underneath. Yeah. That might have been the way they taught me to do it in school, actually. I think this is just a way that I landed on later on. I mean, that's one of the things about teaching is like, you know, maybe I intuitively landed on this method of doing it later on for myself, but they didn't introduce me to that like straight up in the beginning, because there is a bit of complexity in that. Whereas you can take the complexity out by just, you know, magically putting a 0 there, and then when do you add the zeros? Under it place a 0, take the first number times each and multiply, add those two. Okay, so you would do something like this. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10, and then you write that 0 down there. And then you go write down a 0 now, and then you go 4 times 3 is 12, and it has the 0 there automatically. And you write down 2 zeros, and you go 4 times 2 is 800, and you get that. Oh yeah, okay. No, the only difference is that instead of actually explicitly doing this multiplication here, you just put down a 0 and then just add it onto the end of the number. Okay, so in that case we would do it like this. We would go this one multiplied by that one, put down a 0. Under it place a 0, second number to each multiplied. yeah, you could model that by converting these to strings and then just adding a 0, like go plus a 0. Yeah, now that you remind me of that, that is the way I remember, like in primary school, like really at the beginning, was I remember writing down those zeros. And that would just automatically perform the multiplication for you. That's a great feature of base 10, is that if you just like add a 0, so I guess we could coerce it into a string like this. Oh, JavaScript is amazing. At that point, it's going to be a string though, so we need to coerce it to a number. So to coerce it to a number, I can do this. You sure? Nope, that's changed the result. That's definitely changed the result. In that case, what do I use? ParseInt. Like that, and then base 10. Take me back? No. E1 times A10. And then you would just like add 2 zeros to this one. Well, let's see, if I go, say 2 times 3, console log it here. Yay, that works. So if I do that, then if I add a 0 to that, I get 60, but it's not a string, it's a number. Because if I then add 3 to that, I'll get 603. Yep. So if I now put parseInt on that, yep, I get 63. Okay, so if I take this radix off, maybe that fixes it. Funny. Yeah. I wonder how much of that is due to like them having to unlearn something they already learned. Like it's always going to be problematic if you start teaching them one way and then you just now go, okay, now do it this other way. Not because it makes sense for you to now learn the other way, but because now we're just going to teach it a different way. Like you've interrupted the kind of educational process. I wonder what it will be like for kids who start off that way, whether it will be different. And on another note, if I change to TypeScript 3.8, interesting digression back into mathematics. I'm using the Crocker plugin, which allows you to like immediately evaluate JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. It's a live scratch pad from a guy who lives on the Gold Coast. He used to work for JetBrains making IDEs, and he's built some plugins for some really cool plugins for VS Code. Okay, I got my endpoint register a task. Okay, I wonder what this does. Well, let's just run it and see what happens. tmain.js. TS. Okay. Top level await expressions are only allowed when the module option is set to ESNext or system and the target option is set to ES 2017 or higher. So set this target to ES 2017. And the module option set to ESNext. Okay, let's do that. ESNext, I'm all about the future. Okay, so even the younger kids are having issues. I wonder how they tested it before they deployed it to the general public. Cannot find that module. Let me make sure that I've installed it. So pnpmi Netflix Conductor Utilities. It's installed. It's installed. Oh, maybe it's because I changed the module. Not that one. Meh. Probably because this module here. Let's try it with system and see if that works. This is cutting edge here. I've never tried this before. It's a new feature in TypeScript that came out in the last week or so. Why can't you find that? Peak problem. Cannot find that module. Really? Nope. Can't find any modules. Probably because of the module system setting in here. I have to use CommonJS. And it's not going to let me use top-level await in that case. That fixes that problem, but let's have a look. Top-level await? Okay, that combination does not work. Anyway, we just create a function main. Make it async. And then run. Did something, but what did it do? Look at the workflow UI and see what happened. Task data, poll data, nothing in there. All executions, none. Tasks, none. Okay. Don't need that anymore. Netflix Conductor. Task metadata manager. Workflow metadata manager. Workflow manager. And a worker. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's create a worker. What's up with this? Declare but never read. Well, that's kind of weird. The code is not correct. Like that. And what's wrong with this? Okay, it's got typings on it. Okay, so this is not. New conductor worker string. Interesting, the use of the generics on it. How many downloads does this thing get? 145 is very low. Repository. And who is it who made it? Eugene Chen. Follow this guy. February 2020, man. He's done like 24 commits to the repo. Cool guy. Okay, well, let's fix it. So worker start takes a task type and then a function, which is a worker function, which has, so this here, not assignable. Let's have a look at the definitions where it's broken. Work function with a result. I'm not sure I found any test results for reference. Worst of it all is parents can't help their kids with their homework. That's another point, isn't it? If the parents learned with a different method, the parents will be upset about it as well. I reckon that would have a negative emotional impact on the kids as well. If their parents are like, this sucks, I don't know how to do it. That's one thing I noticed with teaching kids to code was like, you know, the parents would be like, I don't know how to do this. I'm no good with computers. I'm like, listen, your kid is no good with computers either, and your kid doesn't know how to do it. But the difference between you and your kid is that your kid is like, oh, show me how to do it. Whereas you are like, I don't know how to do this. Just be like a child. Like, learn how to do it along with them. Because when the parents bring that kind of like upset and like frustration to it, then the kids pick that up as well. So that would definitely be having an impact for sure. Now, this is interesting looking at this library because, I mean, I've written a library very similar to this for Zeebe. Okay, work function, result. Yeah. Okay, so this comes down from the top. We have to create, go back to my worker function. We have to create the worker, conductor worker, and here the type of the payload is passed down into this function. So we're calling start. Now if I have a look at the start method, start. Okay, polling work, task type function. Function is a work function of type result. Work function, input any promise of the result type. Okay, well, you've told it that you're going to return this. Like that. That makes all the errors go away, but I don't know if it's going to have the intended behavior because either the example is wrong or the typings are wrong. It's difficult to tell. There's only one way to tell. Run it and see. Let's have a look. Workflow metadata manager. Workflow manager. Start workflow, test workflow. Okay, well. I reckon we'll just whack this in the same file. We don't need to await it. We don't care. We've got the worker, we've got a test workflow. So according to my calculations, it's going to start a workflow and then this worker is going to work on it. So what we should do in here is go, it's console.log the input just to see what's happening. And run. Okay. It's because I'm running the wrong one. Worker is the one I want to run. Requests failed with 404, so I would say that the test workflow is not deployed. We'll probably have to make a test workflow. Let's do that. If I go back here, workflow definition. Okay, so is there a deploy workflow in here? How do I deploy a workflow? Well, I got a workflow manager, so I reckon if I say, I go down to here, and then I'm like, workflow manager, deploy workflow. Workflow manager instance, deploy. Nope. What can it do? It can do pause, remove, rerun, restart, resume, retrieve, retry, start, terminate. So this can only... Yeah, so maybe I need the workflow metadata manager. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, it was right here in his example. Right. So first we need to deploy it. Okay, but it's awaitable. Just to save a little bit of time, we'll just use the promise. Okay, and then when we run it this time, it deploys the workflow. Nope. Okay. Request failed with status code 400, which means unauthorized. So what's happened here is that this thing has tried to deploy the workflow. A task ID, a task ID. Okay, very similar to Zeebe, but why can I not deploy it? Deploying your workflow using the client. API specification, server metrics, extending task lifecycle, FAQ. Basic concepts maybe. System tasks, worker tasks, next. Client APIs. Sample worker implementation. Why they don't give a shout out to the JavaScript guy? Okay. Task definition, registry of tasks. Well, maybe in my UI I have like events. This? What does that do? Nothing. Workflow definitions. Nothing got deployed. Event handlers, poll data. Is it running on the right port? 8080. Running on 3000. Which port is the server running on? Kafka publish. Okay, so let's go back to the docs and have a look at getting started. Architecture. Funny place to put this quick start. If you ran it locally, it'll be 3000. Okay, yeah. Localhost 8080. Swagger APIs. So this should give me my Swagger API. There we go. Okay. Okay, workflow management. Host to workflow. Okay, so the call to register workflow is failing. Go to the definition. Let's have a look. Metadata workflow. Create a new workflow definition. Post. Workflow management. Okay. Yep. So this is for workflow metadata. Post to workflow metadata. Okay. Post to metadata workflow. Yep. Post the workflow. And it's going to post the workflow. Okay, it's just a standard Axios client. Okay, I wish I could go back to where I was, but can't do it that way. Let's go register workflow, go to the definition. Register the workflow. Create a workflow, but cannot find workflow. Well, this post here is getting a 400. 401 is unauthorized. What exactly is 400? They're a bad request. Right. 401 is unauthorized. Undo button, yeah. It's kind of more like a browser back button that I needed there. I'm going to log out the workflow. I'm all up inside this other guy's code at the moment. Oh no, his code is compiled into the dist directory. Here. It's the workflow metadata manager. Okay, winning. So now I should get error, but I also get what was posted to the endpoint. Now, if I have a look at my Swagger definition over here, this is what needs to be posted in. Parameter type body, it's got to post in a bunch of stuff. Name, description, name. Okay, model. Here we go. Optional. So there's some missing required property, no doubt. Optional, workflow definition. These are all optional. This is all optional. Tasks, not optional. Optional. Workflow tasks. Okay. Okay, problematic. Well, let's just run this and see what happens. So I can try it out. Okay. This is kind of dumb. I mean, straight out of the box, it doesn't work. Like, yeah. I guess they don't really care about... I mean, this is the thing about Netflix Conductor for me is it's not designed for people working outside of Netflix. It's designed for people inside Netflix to use to run Netflix. So they could care less if some random dude in Australia can't get it to run. Okay, status 400 validation. So workflow def name cannot be null or empty. Owner email cannot be empty. So I think the thing to do here then is, I'm not sure how to interfere with this yield thing. Guess I could learn. Okay, so yield, throw. How to properly throw an exception inside a yield return method. Generate a prototype throw. Throw method of the generator. Oof. Dude, this is like real esoteric JavaScript, man. I've never seen anyone programming with generators and yield. Only generated code. Let's have a look. Pause and resume a generator function. Yield the expression defines the value to return from the generator function via the iterator protocol. Causes generator function execution. The value of the expression following is returned to the generator's caller. Okay. Cannot be called from nested functions, but can I catch around it? What happens if yield throws? Well, there's only one way to find out, right? Yeah. So let's just put a try around it and see if that catches it. Catch. Cue picture of a dog with I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, would complain if I was... No. Here. Console log E and then throw E. Okay. Yes, got it. Okay, data validation failed. So data. So I've caught the response. So I'm guessing e.response.data validation errors. e.response.data. Validation errors. Run it again. I'm gonna settle handle incoming stream. Okay, put a catch on here. Console.log that. Get rid of that. A. Pass that into the console log function. Close those parens. Try that. Missing catch will finally after try. Delete that. Okay, that should work. T-worker, let's have a look. Yes, I got the data I needed. Good. Owner email cannot be empty. Okay. So, arg0 owner email. Okay, so. Okay, so owner email cannot be empty. Owner email random at gmail.com. Save that. Why doesn't it like that? Oh dude, strict typing and it's not even on there. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna bring this guy's package down and then fix it. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Okay, get clone. No, I should fork it first and then clone it. So fork it. Ta-ta! Who would ever thought that I'd be fixing the Netflix conductor code? Copy that. Clone. Boom. Okay, view. So no, terminal, new terminal. I wonder if I can use the npm link with pnpm. Well, let's find out. So we find out what version of node I'm running in here. Well, whatever. npmi 12.10.0 there. Node minus v 12.10.0 on there too. Okay, good. Okay, it's all installed. Package.json, how do these build it? psc dist. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Okay, so if I go npm run dist, switch to this side, npm link, what? Looked like it did. Okay, so now if I go back to my one and I go pnpm link and then paste in the name of that library. Okay. Wants to use the virtual store. If you want to use the new virtual store, you may change the virtual store location by changing the value of the virtual store dirt config. Okay, never done this before, so let's find out. pnpm link. How do you do it? Connect the local project to another one. The npm link. Okay. Okay, so pnpm link. I don't know, those instructions are not particularly clear. Okay, you gotta set that up first. Then run that. No. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see if that worked. I don't know. Sometimes it could just work, eh? So if I go into taskflow, this workflow manager thing, and just go full ghetto in here and do this console.log YOLO. Save that. This should run. Yep, that ran. And then if I just run that, I should see YOLO printed out to my screen. Negative. Not because of this. Run. I did not see YOLO printed out. It's not using my linked symlinked package. Okay, someone else has got to have faced this problem before, so let's have a look. Frequently asked questions. Let's try the FAQ. Could be in there. Okay. Does it work? Circular, symlinks, hard links, multiple, store, prune, stand for. Nope. Oh man, come on. I just want to symlink this thing in here. Okay, let's try brute forcing it then. Okay, let's read the error message. The dependencies at... Okay, so Netflix Conductor Utilities, that's the other package, are currently symlinked from the virtual store directory at inside its own thing. PNP now wants to use the virtual store at... Okay, to link dependencies from the store. If you want to use the new virtual store location, reinstall your dependencies with... It doesn't tell me where to install that, run that command though, here or in the other package. It doesn't tell me where to change that config either. Solid 2 out of 10 for usability. Maybe it's like this, I don't know. Netflix, Conductor Utilities. Did that work? Okay. YOLO, that's what I wanted to see. Good. Okay, it's working. Okay, so we can now mutate the code in here. So first thing we do is create a new branch called let's call it patch 1. Now, metadata manager, workflow metadata definition. Okay, go to the definition of this thing. Okay, so it must have an owner email, which is of type string. Email of owner. Save, rebuilds. Okay, we go back here. Yep. Haha, now it's complaining that I don't have an owner email, which is what we wanted. Okay. Now the other problem was that it said that task A was not defined. What's the problem? Run that again. Okay, good. Now, if we go back to here, the workflow metadata manager, where it does the actual request, so register workflow, right? So here we'll just chain a catch onto here, and then it's e.response data dot validation errors. And what I want to do with that is I want to log it out. Yeah, okay, so return that. Okay. just to get around the nice typing for a debug message. Okay, and run. $400 bad request. Okay. Don't save that. Don't save that either. So, be sure that was running register workflow, right? No, that says get workflow. Okay, that's testing to see whether the workflow exists. So, put it in the wrong place. It goes here. Someone watching the stream is like, I saw that. I knew you were doing that. Okay, validation errors. Thank you. Register workflow definition. Argument 0, task 0. A task ID, task definition is not defined. Okay. A task ID. Okay, let's find an example of a definition. Well, this one doesn't work very well. Task is empty on this demo example value. Okay, so let's have a look in here. There was a demo task definition in here. Task definition. Task must be registered before being used in a workflow. Right. Okay, so you've got to actually register the task first. Okay. Oof. So do that, then do this. Okay, now it will work. Here. Now it will work. Okay, request failed with status code 400. Okay, so there was no validation errors on that, which means probably that it happened here. The console log, e.response, I guess. Let's just try that. And let's do a full ghetto exit process. No, don't change that. Don't you like about that? God. Okay. How about that? PNPM I types node. Okay. Rock and roll. Run. Here's the validation errors. Register workflow. Register tasks. Yeah. Metadata task defs. Register workflow def. Hang on, this is posting to metadata task definitions. Posting to that. It's a bad request. Okay, let's have a look at this task definition again. A task must be registered. Okay, so it's got to have like a name. Yeah, it's got a name. Unique, optional. Dude. The thing that gives me a lack of confidence here is that the Swagger API doesn't even work. Like, let's go back to the task definitions, right? Workflow management, task management. If we look at the task, so tasks, no, task metadata management. Show hide this one. Metadata management, here we go. Post to the task defs. Is that where we're posting to? Metadata task defs, yep. So we're gonna post something in there. Try it out. Whoa. Doesn't actually have any example data, so you got to put the data in here. Okay, let's try grabbing this here. I mean, if you only have 149 downloads per week, we're not going to put much time in it unless you're using it. Internal error. Okay, it's got to be a array. Try it out. 400 validation failed. Dude. Yeah, okay, you're gonna spend a lot of time fixing the ecosystem from the look of it. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, this is like the extent of my experience with it now is like, yeah, it's real difficult to use because it's unmaintained. But this is basically why I went with Zeebe in the first place, because it was unmaintained and had difficulty getting my patches merged into it. It's a very low priority. Okay, so task metadata manager. What's up? You want to plug something in? Yeah, just unplug this phone. It's fine. Okay, I'm going to give this another 5 minutes, then I'm going to bail on the whole concept. Workflow metadata manager. It's a test workflow. We're going to register this task. We've got a name. Register workflow definition. Posting to the API metadata task depths, right? So we're posting, we're going to post this thing here. And then it comes back and says, .data.validation errors, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Might be enough to get it. I just got to read everything very carefully. This task definition must have an owner ID on it as well. Owner email. Most people are not going to go to this extent to get this thing to run, man. I'm just particularly motivated. And, you know, Eugene's put a bunch of work into this to make it work. And it kind of sucks that people don't get a great experience with it. Okay, so the task definition metadata. Okay, so we can now take this off. And we also now know that we can catch it in the... Okay, task metadata manager types task metadata definition, task definition extends task metadata definition, task metadata definition. Grab this out of here. And run. Okay, this time it should work like magic. See, it didn't blow up. Okay, it got the input. So if I go back to my workflow UI, running, oh, you can see it in the metadata for tasks. It's a task. Okay. Workflow definitions there. Running workflows, none, failed, all. All. Completed. Terminated, timed out. Nah, there must be one workflow that ran because okay, so if I then chain onto here, I'm just using promises all the way down. Let's chain whatever response comes out of here and straight to the log. Mm-hmm. 409. What? Duplicate ID or something? I don't know if I've ever seen 409 before. Conflict. Yeah, okay, so you tried to... Why doesn't it like that? Implicitly has any type. What do you mean the task meta manager? Task metadata definition. Task metadata definition. Yeah, you got to regularly test your new user experience to see. So task metadata definition owner email does not exist on that type, but it does. And so I think if I close this and then reopen it, it'll pick up the latest typing. Worker.ts. Nope. Go to the definition. Okay, so but it did work, so I've actually put it in the wrong place. It doesn't belong on there. No, that's correct. Email of owner email. Okay, now it's okay, whatever. Okay, there's a 409, so we've already registered the task, we've registered the workflow, so what we can then do is just retire this stuff here. Don't need to do any of that now. Oh, this is real ghetto coding, man. People can see it on the internet, but they're not going to see that code anywhere else doing that to it, hacking around with it. Okay, so this is the workflow instance that got created. So there's definitely a workflow instance created. Go to my UI. Bulk processing. Go to my workflow status. Get rid of that. Show me all of them. Search. Yeah, there they are. Okay, cool. Here's my workflow. Input output. Workflow input, workflow output. JSON. Okay. Okay, right. Which one is conflicting? So, okay, if this were my library, since you can get that 409, I'd test with the 409 first. Then do the deploy. Anyway, I think the changes that we've made now, we have a look at it. Oh no, it's reformatted it. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that's no good. Oh. Dude. Boo. It doesn't have like a prettier, oh, he doesn't have a prettier setting in his, there's a wallaby.conf though, so he's using Wallaby, which is from the guys who make Crocker. Okay, sucks. Nah, it's cool, man, it's cool. I'm gonna have to just do this patch manually. We have the technology. I'll do it on the website. Types. Source types. And manually edit. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then that's gonna be it for this stream. Okay, ask metadata definition. Workflow metadata definition, same thing. Is that right? No, this is one out from there. Okay, and did I get the right indentation on the other one? Owner email, one out, yep, okay. So, owner email is now required. Task and workflow definitions. Add missing required properties. Otherwise you get a 401 when you try to deploy. Okay. Propose the file change. Create a pull request. Okay, pull request. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Any issues in the issue tracker? It'll be closed if there are. None. Okay. Is there anything else on here for Netflix Conductor? Search. Haha, look at that. The top hit for Netflix Conductor is Zeebe node. Love it. I wonder if it's this. That could have been the one I used previously. I don't know. Anyways, that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, I'm going to continue the investigation. I'll probably do Uber Cadence and Left Flight as well. Have fun, stay safe.